Hey guys, what if I tell you healing wasn't just about medicine, but also about music? Imagine a doctor who not only treats pain with science, but also with sound. Today's guest is redefining what it means to care for the soul, especially at life's most tender moments. This one might change how you think about healing forever. Stay tuned. You're watching the Basia TV podcast, and I'm about to have a vulnerable, authentic conversation with a woman out of the Newark, New Jersey area by the name of Dr. Sydelle Ross, who's changing the game for music through medicine and song. She's a singing doctor. This is Basia TV podcast, and we'll be right back.
Yeah. And recognizing that if I could find some way to save myself and take care of myself and nurture myself and honor myself and be good to myself, then maybe I can offer that to patients as well.
As a doctor, did you realize what was it, the changing moment for you? What was the moment when everything shifted is what I'm trying to say. And you realize, I have to do this. Describe to us, because somebody listening needs to hear this story, because you made the breakthrough. But what was that breakthrough moment? When did that shift occur, when you realized that this was, you were no longer willing to compromise and you had to fulfill the purpose of your soul as a doctor, a medically trained doctor?
Yeah. So there was a pivotal moment in my career when I was essentially just brought to my knees.
She is the #1 podcast host from the Caribbean, based in North America. Media mogul and the legend agent to the biggest names in international cricket. This is Basia TV Podcast with Basia Powell. This episode is brought to you by 124 Nut Out Sports Agency. Welcome to the next level. Basia TV Podcast starts right now.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Basia TV podcast. I'm your host, Basia Powell, and today we are exploring one of the most fascinating intersections in medicine, the connection between music, healing, and the human spirit. And today I'm joined by none other than Dr. Sydelle Ross, who many are calling the singing doctor. Dr. Ross, welcome to the Basia TV podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you so much. I just want to give our listeners and viewers a quick background on you before we talk about both sides of your practice. You're a triple board certified doctor, anesthesiologist, pain specialist, and classically trained vocalist who now practices hospice and palliative care. This is very unique for someone in your profession. Dr. Ross uses her voice literally to bring moments of peace, presence, and connection to patients and families in many cases. Some of these people are they're at life's most vulnerable moments. These are terminally ill patients in many cases. She's also passionate about using music to help healthcare workers cope with burnouts, rediscover meaning in their work. We've talked on this show about doctors being burnt out and experiencing thoughts of suicide and actually doing that. So this episode is for everyone in healthcare, for families who've walked hospice journey, and for everyone who's ever turned to music for comfort or strength. It's a conversation about compassion, resilience, and the healing power of song. Where do we begin? A young lady from the Caribbean who, from the age of probably 4 or 5, I read, you wanted to be a medical doctor. Your parents sent you to Williams College. That would have been in the Boston, Massachusetts area.
Yeah, so a couple hours north of Boston.
And later to Columbia. Later to
the University of Pennsylvania.
University of Pennsylvania. Thank you. And then one day you got up and decided that you wanted to sing to your patients?
Okay, let's take it back.
Okay.
Because even as a 4 or 5-year-old, I told everyone that I would become a singing doctor one day. And nobody could tell me otherwise. I was certain that this was my path, that was my journey, and that is what I would become one day.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that as I continued on the path to becoming the medical doctor, the singing component, that precious part of who I was, who I've always been, was stifled.
When you say stifled, was it stifled by you?
In part. Also by there was a lot of noise, external noise, a lot of voices, right? Along the path.
Yeah.
The singing doctor, what is that? Nobody's ever heard of that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? You sing in part, it's sounding good, as in growing up in the West Indian culture, right?
Yeah.
Singing
because you're from Trinidad and Tobago,
correct?
Yeah.
That song is nice, but how are you going to do that? How will this happen, right?
Yeah.
And little by little, I began to feel as though, well, that the singing component perhaps was not as important. And perhaps didn't deserve to be nurtured and honored.
Yeah.
That part of my identity.
Yeah.
Didn't deserve it. Didn't deserve to be acknowledged. And so I went along with my studies, became a medical doctor, became pretty disconnected from that 5-6-year-old self because that child saw the whole Sydelle Ross.
Right. Because this is something your soul is born with.
That's
desire.
Correct. So that child was aware of that. But unfortunately, over the course of time, with all of the external voices and the social conditioning, I stifled that part of my identity, of my nature. And I too began to believe that perhaps this is not something that I should pursue. I've become the medical doctor and I'm happy with that. And this is what it shall be. And I'll sing on the side. I'll sing at church and I'll sing if somebody invites me to sing somewhere at some point in time, but that's not going to be a focus of my life.
Yeah.
And I convinced myself that all will be well. So I thought.
So stay with me now. So you were because I tell people all the time, the soul wants what the soul wants. But if you're not someone who believes in soul and fulfillment and you're not able to truly understand a gift that you were born with, because we all come here with an assignment, then it's hard to convince others because gifts are not necessarily popular attributes.
Correct.
Not all of them. Right? Some people were born to play soccer or cricket or whatever. And those are popular gifts that people can hone and tap into quickly. But for a lot of us who have gifts that break barriers or create new things, I mean, I'm sure somebody was born with that gift of AI and that vision for a very long time.
Right.
AI music, AI sound, blah, blah, blah. Somebody said in the garage, one day I'm going to have a platform and people will be able to buy everything online and they're like, oh, whatever, I'm going to the store.
That's right. I'm sure those people were considered crazy at one time.
Crazy. But how you knew this and you carried this around for a long time. Nobody thought about a singing doctor. People thought about entertainers or singers, opera singers, etc. And then they thought about doctors, right? It was even more acceptable to have bush doctors, as we call them in the Caribbean, than to have a singing doctor, right? At what stage of your career did you, as a doctor, did you realize, what was it, the changing moment for you? What was the moment when everything shifted, is what I'm trying to say. And you realize, I have to do this. Describe to us, because somebody listening needs to hear this story, because you made the breakthrough. But what was that breakthrough moment? When did that shift occur, when you realized that this was, you were no longer willing to compromise and you had to fulfill the purpose of your soul as a doctor, a medically trained doctor?
Yeah. So there was a pivotal moment in my career when I was essentially just brought to my knees. I was in so much, I was psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, because I felt as though this career that I had worked so hard to achieve was not serving me. It was not, I felt as though I was an imposter going through the motions every day in a system that didn't care much for me And I'm being brutally honest.
So the system didn't understand your desire to sing and be.
The system didn't understand my desire to take care of myself and to take care of my patients in a meaningful way. That's how I felt eventually.
Yeah.
Busy practice, very limited time to spend with patients, no time for connection, or very little time for real interpersonal connection, very little time to heal myself when faced with patients who are in crises.
Yeah.
It was, I felt that I failed. I felt like a failure because here I am in this profession that's supposed to be focused on healing and well-being, care for the self. Why was I so broken in this system? And how could I continue to show up day after day, feeling so broken, so hurt, so wounded, and take care of someone else? Kidding?
Yeah. And I'm sure there are a lot of other doctors experiencing what you experienced.
I knew this was going to happen, so I came prepared.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. But I think
No, this story has to be told.
it has to be told, and I want to be the one to tell it.
It needs to be told. And so I remember just falling on my knees one day and I said, Lord Jesus, I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
I can't do it anymore. I cannot walk in there another day because it is a disservice, certainly to the patients.
Yeah.
But it is also a disservice to my own soul.
Yeah.
Because there's this concept of, it's called moral injury. And yes, there's burnout, but there's also another reason why a lot of healthcare professionals just really kind of become very cynical and jaded and lose their sense of purpose, I think. And it's related to this idea of moral injury. Here I am doing something that is not aligned with what I know to be true.
Yeah.
What I know to be right. Yet I continue to have to do this every day.
Question, not to cut you deliberately, and you can continue, but I need you to connect the dots for me and for our viewers. Did you during this time, did you find other doctors like yourself in the profession going through a similar feeling?
Well, no is the short answer. But I think, I was too ashamed to even talk about it, one. Right. And I suspect that I would not have been alone in feeling that shame.
Yeah.
Right? Because, when you're a doctor, the society tells you that you've done well.
Yeah.
And you're resilient and you're able to manage stress and and you take care of others. That's what you're called to do, and you just do it.
Yeah.
You just do it. You don't pay attention to your own vital signs is what as an anesthesiologist, it's funny. That's what I did for many, many years. Watch other people's vital signs, and I wasn't paying attention to my own.
How many years did you do this for as a doctor?
Over 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So we don't pay attention to our own vital signs.
Yeah.
And that's why so many of us are unhappy, leaving the profession, going into, non-patient facing professions. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Some people just leaving the profession altogether. Some people, as you said, finding other ways to exit life.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable.
Can I ask you this, Dr. Ross? Was there a time ever that you just felt that like leaving the profession altogether?
I probably had fleeting moments of that, of, those kinds of thoughts.
Yeah.
But when I considered the 5-year-old, I just kept coming back to the 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And I also believe that at the core of medicine, there's goodness there.
Yeah.
There can be compassion.
Yeah.
There can be grace. There can be strength. There can be power. There can be connection.
Yeah.
But those of us who are committed enough need to stand up and see that, and be honest.
Yeah.
And say that the way that we've been doing things is not working. It's not serving the greater good, not for ourselves, not for the people who entrust their lives to us. And so if we're honest and willing to admit that, but still believe in the goodness of what we do,
yeah,
I think we can start making some change. And even in the smallest increment of change, there's hope. And hope is what we need to really get us through this. To believe that we hope in a vision for a better future.
Yeah.
And so I decided that this is the course that I'm going to now take.
Yeah.
This is what I have to do. And it came from a place of just wanting to save myself.
Yeah. Self-love.
Yeah. And recognizing that if I could find some way to save myself and take care of myself and nurture myself and honor myself and be
Yeah.
good to myself,
Yeah.
then maybe I can offer that to patients as well
Yeah.
and their loved ones.
Hmm.
And this is really how it began.
So what was the first thing you did? Like, okay, yes, you had musical training in some form as a child, correct?
A lot of exposure to music, some formal training. Yes.
Okay. So what was your first step now that you realized that you needed to achieve this dream for the 5-year-old girl in you? You're in a medical system that does not pay attention to music therapy and so on. Because you said this is after 10 years of being a doctor, and we're talking about the past few years, right? What was the first thing you did? Like, what does someone else do who's in your situation right now, who's
Yeah.
hearing this? Because I know you're not the only person, the only medical practitioner. Maybe a nurse is feeling it. Maybe another doctor. What did you do? What was your first step to regain control and to find
Yeah.
your purpose?
So I walked away. I quit, not having a backup plan. A lot of my colleagues, when they heard that I was leaving, the next question kind of automatically is, "Oh, so where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going home."
I don't mean to laugh, Dr. Ross, but
What? What do you mean? You're going home? You don't have a job? No, I do not have a job lined up. I am going home. And in my mind, nobody else deserved more of an explanation than that.
yeah.
But in my mind, I knew that I had to go home and reconnect with myself, with that child. So that was the first thing. I had to really, in retrospect, I guess it took a lot of courage for me to recognize that I could not continue
No, I want you to remove
running.
the word I guess it took. It took a lot of courage.
I couldn't just continue
Yeah.
existing on that hamster wheel. I could not do it. So I left.
So you chose purpose over profit.
I chose myself. And I am not saying that everybody would have the ability to do that,
Yeah.
right, to just walk away. But this is what I had to do.
Yeah.
I had saved up a fair amount of money to be able to take some time away.
Yeah.
And I did that. And I spent a lot of time in prayer and introspection. And it was a very painful time.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, that pain served a great purpose.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of wonderful things in the course of history
Yeah.
have come out of pain.
Pain can give birth to beautiful things.
That's right. And so I sat with the pain and the anguish and the despair and the distress, sometimes questioning why me? Why?
Mhm.
How did everything end up just turning upside down,
Yeah.
when I had envisioned this beautiful career
Yeah.
but I sat with it.
Yeah.
I had to. And what helped me to sit with it and hold space was music.
Music. It all came back to music.
Absolutely. Music
So-
created this safe space.
Yeah. I have a question. Like, this is very important for me to understand, and even for listeners and viewers. Okay. So I've read that your husband is also a medical doctor. How was it for you explaining this to him, who was practicing a very traditional side of medicine, not the new one that you've been a part of, a new movement?
Yeah.
How was it? How did he receive this change?
It didn't go over well.
Okay. Thank you for being honest, because I wondered about it. Yeah.
It caused a lot of tension in the marriage.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear
And part of the issue was that it was hard for me to even articulate and to express what I was feeling. I didn't quite know where I was going with any of this,
Wow.
but I just knew that there had to be a different course of action, a different path that I would have to start traveling
Yeah.
along. And ultimately, I mean, he accepted the fact that I was so unhappy
Yeah.
that something had to change.
Yeah.
Something had to change.
And we must give him credit for that, because
Yes.
a lot of partners don't understand that, because I'm sure, as far as he's concerned, he was married to a medical doctor. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, he said that essentially. He said, and I don't know where this has come from. I don't know where this
Yeah.
came from, because when I married you, and again, he
Yeah.
had his own expectations of what our life would be like.
Yeah.
So I suppose in as a credit to him, in his defense,
That would throw me off.
his view of who we were
Yeah.
as a united kind of couple, that just came kind of crashing down too, right?
Yeah.
In some ways,
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean, definitely a power team, a medicine power couple team, and you're
right.
like,
So
you're leaving medicine?
and in medicine, that becomes a really big part of your identity, being a physician,
Yeah.
even or in care profession. I mean, that becomes a big part of your identity.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that was a big blow for him.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, he understood. And ultimately became what is now one of my biggest supporters. So
Yes. Well, that's wonderful to hear.
I
We can't expect people to understand something that they don't understand yet. It's not
right.
out there. There's no template for
And I
what you were
didn't
trying to.
understand. Correct.
Yeah.
And I myself didn't quite know how to express this need.
Yeah.
But I think as the years went by and I began to get a little bit more clear about the vision
Yeah.
and where this could possibly go,
Yeah.
he began to understand.
Good for him.
And there are a lot of people who still don't, and that's fine.
Well, we're not talking about them. You notice I only asked about your husband.
Because I've also come to realize that there are a lot of people who won't understand, and that's really okay.
Yeah.
As I continue on this journey,
Yeah.
as long as I understand my why and that I'm committed to my why,
Yeah.
then that's all that matters.
Yeah. I agree.
And so I just started with, I took the time off just to kind of get back to how this even began. I took the
Yeah.
time away, leaned on music heavily,
Yeah.
reconnected with that child,
Yeah.
because in leaning into music, that child, the voice of that child became louder and
Yeah.
became louder than all of the negative voices outside of me that had stifled the voice of that child for so long.
Yeah.
And once I decided that I had to start honoring this child, I'm going to, at one day, offer music to a patient at the bedside. Didn't have an
Wow.
idea of when or how
Mhm.
or what this would look like,
Yeah.
but I had the thought.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, before I actually do that, let me really try and to enhance my vocal skills. As a vocalist, let me prepare myself so that when I do this,
Yeah.
I can offer my best. And that's when the voice training began.
So you went for voice training. That was your first step.
Yeah. As a professional student, I felt very comfortable just going back to school,
Yeah.
just learning something new,
Yeah.
a new skill.
Yeah.
It was a nice way to kind of challenge myself too. It gave me something to look forward to, something to work towards. It was a recommitment to the child within me, the 6-year-old child.
Yeah.
And with the voice training came a desire to kind of affirm myself, entered an international voice competition,
Mm-hmm.
performed at Carnegie Hall, and all of these experiences started to confirm for me
Yeah.
that when you really make the decision to walk in your purpose, to live your purpose, to honor yourself, to honor your authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
life works with you
Correct.
to achieve your desires.
The creator of the universe and the universe
Yes.
pull it all together.
Some people say the universe, some people say God. I say, I
Both.
say God. And there's
I
a
say
divine
both.
force.
It's a divine force because he's the creator of the universe, so therefore the universe is real.
There is a divine force that works with you to accomplish the desires of your heart
Yeah.
and your soul.
Yeah.
And so finally, one day, I had the courage to do this.
Yeah. And we're glad you did. I want to go into some statistics to support
Sure.
your movement, the movement that you're a part of, this powerful movement in medicine. Many may call it new, but it's not new to you. It's not new to your soul. It's new to us, But according to the American Psychological Association 2023, research shows that listening to music can lower stress hormone levels and reduce anxiety by up to 65%. Dr. Ross, as someone working in palliative care, how do you see music impacting the emotional stress of patients or families? Have you personally witnessed a moment where music immediately transformed the atmosphere in a room?
Yes.
Tell us.
So this was a patient that I had been that I cared for near the end of his life. So we had transitioned to hospice care at this point for this patient who happened to be a professional jazz musician. Yeah. So now when I get to know a patient, if they tell me, if I learn that music has been a big part of their lives, I just kind of dive right in and we explore that.
You dive in, yes.
So obviously, when I learned that this person was a professional jazz musician, right there was a connection.
Yeah.
He had his life-limiting diagnosis was advanced cancer. He also had some degree of dementia and was no longer playing his instrument. He was a saxophonist and really had an illustrious career.
Wow.
I would sit with him at the bedside whenever time permitted to sing some of the songs that he would have known, that he knew, of course, inside out, back of his hand, jazz standards. And in fact, his dying wish was to have a bedside jam session.
Really?
So I made it my mission to make that wish come true. So he, in his final days of life, I got together with some friends and we decided that we would make this wish come true. I called ahead of time. It was a weekend when we decided to do this. I called ahead of time to make sure he was still alive because
it was touch and go.
At that point, he could have passed on by that time, but he was still alive. But then they said to me, if you're going to come to see him, you should come today. Yeah, you should come today. And so to make a long story short, we got there. We got there. He was lying lifeless in the bed. And as we friends started warming up their instruments and I started kind of warming up my voice. I hear him saying, what's happening in here? Pick my head up, pick my head up, pick my head up. I'm hearing the saxophone. So the nurses pick his head up. And as my friends start to play, I start to sing. He starts to cry. The nurses start to cry.
Wow.
They're bringing in more patients, more end-of-life patients to win them up. Everybody's hearing this music and wants to know what's going on and wants to be a part of it. Yeah. And it was as though, I'll say that was one of the most humanizing experiences that I've ever been a part of as a healthcare professional in the healthcare space. Yeah. To see this man come to life. He even, when we took a break, he was even giving my friends a tutorial.
But they said that he might have gone that day.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow. So can I ask you, how long after that did
2 days.
die? 2 days after?
Another touching part of this experience was that his daughter came to visit and they had been estranged. And when she came and saw how the music was touching him, she herself, she was moved by what she was feeling.
Yeah.
She also began to cry. And I saw kind of a reconciliation taking place between them.
That's amazing. Healing the patient.
All of it through music, right? All of this through music.
Yeah.
All of this.
That's amazing. Oh my God. That's amazing. Thank you for the great job that doctors like yourself, all doctors, but I am happy that the 5-year-old girl in you was brave enough to do something that most people are even afraid to talk about. It's easy for people to get, and I'm not criticizing them for them because that's their purpose, but it's easy for them to get on a stage and sing music that's popular or to pursue a popular music path. All parts of music are indeed hard to get to the top. Let's be very clear. But they're not all popular. And, I have mad respect for you for choosing the road less traveled.
Thank you so much. It's still, sometimes it still feels a bit lonely. Sometimes I still feel like it's somewhat forbidden in the hospitals, within the confines of the hospital walls.
No,
sometimes I find myself singing in the stairwell, right?
Keep singing. You're the singing doctor. Keep singing.
Because the stairwell is where I can kind of retreat and find my private space.
Yeah.
To sing and to connect with myself.
Yeah.
During the hard moments.
Yeah. I have another statistic that I want to discuss, and this one is from Harvard. According to Harvard Health Publishing, their medical school 2022 journal, I guess, it says music therapy has been shown to improve heart rate, blood pressure, and overall mood in patients recovering from illness or surgery. My question is, in your practice, have you seen how Well, I mean, you told us about this patient, but how the physical responses to music, like slower breathing or relaxed posture, support emotional healing? How do you balance the science of medicine with the art of intuition when using music as part of your care?
Yeah. So I just want to just highlight this something here and make it clear to everyone who's listening. Music therapy, I have a lot of respect for it because clearly it offers patients, their loved ones, compassionate care, right?
Yeah.
Through music. I'm not a music therapist.
Right.
I am a physician who offers music
It's a part of
as a gift for myself and care for
Right.
myself and
Got it.
patients
Thank you
and
for
their loved ones,
clarifying that.
right?
Yeah.
Music therapy is practiced by a licensed music therapist, and they are an integral part of care teams because they really, again, use music and music-based interventions to achieve specific clinical outcomes, such as
Yeah.
the decrease in heart rate, decrease
Yeah.
in blood pressure, reducing pain, reducing anxiety. But I will say this, certainly in my experience of offering music to patients and loved ones, I have seen postures change. I have seen shoulders drop. I have seen breathing become deeper and more steady as opposed to the shallow, rapid
Yeah.
breathing that tends to be associated with anxiety and stress and fight or flight, right? I've seen the shift.
Yeah.
And I can speak from personal experience as well. There is a grounding practice that I often use to kind of reconnect with myself and involves humming.
Right.
And we know that humming has an impact on the nervous system, the central nervous system.
Yeah.
Humming can lead to decrease in heart rate, decrease in cortisol levels, where cortisol is a stress hormone.
I honestly had no idea of this.
Yeah.
I just use meditation, but I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, meditation, and there's some work on the combination of meditation and humming, meditation and music,
Yeah.
that can kind of work together, work synergistically.
Yeah.
But I do that for myself at times.
Yeah.
And I feel the difference. I feel the difference in the breathing pattern. I feel the difference in muscle tension. I feel a greater sense of calm and reconnection with myself. So really, it's just sometimes I'll plant my feet on the ground, close my eyes, and just do a.
Probably gonna have to try the humming part of my meditation.
Yeah.
Because personally, meditation, I start my day with meditation now, and it has changed my life.
Yeah.
It's really been extremely impactful, especially for someone who has a very packed
Absolutely.
day.
Absolutely. And sometimes and there's another exercise that I incorporate into my kind of daily practice.
Yeah.
Where I will choose a word.
Yeah.
And sing kind of in one tone.
Yeah.
Like peace. And it could be peace, it could be joy, it could be hope, it could be faith, it could be love, whatever the word might be.
Yeah.
Take a few breaths and really
I'm going to be adding that to
reconnect
my
with
daily
myself.
regime. I need it right now.
Please do. Please do. It's there for us all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I need
there
it.
for us all.
I had no idea that humming had that impact. I mean, I've been using meditation, of course, and
for some
other things.
people, there are folks who may not care for the kind of these music-based interventions.
Yeah.
But for some of us who are willing to incorporate it,
But
why,
I don't know
why
anybody
not?
who don't like listening to music.
I know a few. I've met a few people.
Wow.
They exist.
I'm so sorry for them.
They exist. I've met a few.
I don't know. I literally don't know anybody who don't enjoy music, but that's okay.
Sure,
That's
exactly.
okay. Wow, that is amazing. Oh my God.
And so, yes. So as to kind of answer the question, it's, based on kind of that Harvard study, I don't have kind of objective data.
Right.
To actually say, well, yes, I have noticed a decrease in heart rate or a decrease in blood pressure or a decrease in respiratory rate.
Yeah.
But I have kind of what's called a qualitative kind of evidence. Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you're not a music therapist, but you're definitely a medical doctor that uses her gift to put it within to help your patients. And I don't know that it's necessarily done, because I want to clarify this, done to heal, but it's definitely done to ease, to cope, to manage, because you're a pain management specialist as well. So I guess you use the gift of music, your gift of music, to bring comfort.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So our third stat, my producers and I, we were just kind of looking at all the things that evidence this. And it says, according to the Journal of Palliative Medicine, 2021, this was done, patients receiving music therapy in hospice and palliative care reported a 40% reduction in pain intensity and greater emotional comfort. My question to you is, that's powerful. Nearly half reporting less pain. What's happening emotionally or neurologically when music eases that kind of discomfort? That's one. And how do you introduce music in those deeply personal end of life moments? Is there a ritual or instinct you follow? So first question is, do I need to repeat it for you? Or?
What's happening neurologically?
Yes, neurologically.
Okay.
Because I don't know, and I'm so curious about this.
Well, there's still a lot that we don't know. Yeah. And this is an area of active research.
Yeah.
A lot of us in doing this work want to know what's happening at the level of the brain.
Yeah.
Right? To kind of induce these changes. Well, what we do know is that there is a connection between what we hear and what we feel.
Yeah.
Right? So the auditory cortex, how we process sound, is connected to the memory center.
Yeah.
Right? That's why when you hear a familiar song, it can bring back memories, evoke nostalgia.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a pleasant memory, then the sensation that is derived from this pleasant memory typically tends to promote relaxation. Sometimes hearing a familiar song, so a song that we can identify with, can lead to stimulation of other areas of the brain that promote connection, stimulate the release of certain chemicals in the nervous system that, as I said, promote connection and closeness. So in that particular study, I'm quite familiar with it.
Yeah.
The patients responded when they heard familiar music.
I have a question to follow up on the first question.
Sure. Some patients responded feeling closer to their loved ones.
Yeah.
A renewed connection with loved ones. Patients reported feeling closer to God.
I can feel that depending on the song that's played.
Yeah.
But before you address the question on ritual and instinct you follow, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I know you would know medically because this is a medical question with regards to hearing and music and whatever. But I heard that when a patient is dying, that the last thing, and I don't know, right? This may be a stupid question, but I'm not a medical practitioner. But I'm very curious about the answer. So that's why I'm asking it.
Sure.
But the last thing to go, last
sense
is the hearing. Is that correct?
So that's what we believe. And we often encourage loved ones at the end of life to continue speaking, to continue
making amends and stuff,
sharing, to continue saying I love you, to continue saying I forgive you, to continue saying, you will forever be with me in my heart. Because we believe that hearing is one of the last senses, if not the last to go. And it's interesting, I posted a TikTok little carousel on this particular topic.
I follow you on TikTok, but I didn't see that one.
It exploded.
Really? I need to urge our viewers to follow Dr. Ross on her TikTok. What's your address on TikTok?
Sydelle Ross, MD.
Sydelle Ross, MD. Please, guys, go follow her. She has a really amazing TikTok and Instagram. Yeah.
I didn't expect that kind of engagement.
Really?
But clearly this is something that people are interested in. It's pretty fascinating, I guess.
Yeah.
And why is that? We still don't know. Wow. Why is hearing the last sense to go? We're still not sure.
Yeah.
There is some thought that, at the end of life, in the final kind of hours of life, when blood flow to the brain starts to decrease and people are less conscious, less overtly conscious, there's some thinking that the parts of the brain that are involved in auditory processing, so that can still participate in kind of hearing, those areas, those areas may be less affected by the decreased blood flow. So even when other parts of the brain have started to shut down, the parts of the brain that are involved in hearing may still be somewhat functional.
Wow. That's something I really wanted to know and never had a chance to ask a doctor. But I'm glad
because we still
that there's evidence.
And we're still not sure kind of the whole picture.
Yeah.
But that too is an area of research, and particularly one that interests me. because clearly in my line of work, this is something that we engage with all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
I have one more stats to ask you about because
Sure.
I'm looking at our time span and I really want to get your thoughts on some funnier versions of stuff, right? But according to the American Journal of Hospice and Palliative Medicine 2019 report, families who participated in musical interactions during hospice care reported increased connection and communication with their loved ones. And you talked about that earlier. The question is, how does shared music create connection when words sometimes fail? And what do you say to caregivers who feel the need to do more? And I think this is the one I want answered because perhaps you would have answered the other one. So what do you say to caregivers who feel the need to do more when often presence and maybe a song is enough? As you know, that's what they want to do.
That's it, really, honestly. And I know that
That's it.
the world we live in is driven by action, right?
Yeah.
You have to feel busy in order to feel good.
Yeah.
But the more that I kind of connect with myself and connect with patients, is the more that I recognize that what people really want is connection.
Yeah.
People want presence. People want
Even at end of life.
Yes, people want to feel that their loved ones are with them. So when I say with them, you know, even physically speaking, in close proximity, physically, but also just emotionally present and connected.
Yeah.
You know, yes, caregivers may want to fulfill a need.
Yeah.
You know, they're busy, especially it's hard work for caregivers, you know, who may find themselves caring for a seriously ill loved one, a loved one who's dying, perhaps. Yes, there is a lot to do in the care of that person.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that caregivers can also recognize that one of the basic needs is the need to just be present, to abide, to be with me in the moment, to be with them in the moment, to emotionally
Be with me in
connect.
the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be. And it's easy to get bogged down by the to-do, the list of things, right? On the to-do list. Because
It
caring
is.
for a sick person is not easy.
No, it's not.
But there are moments, if you let yourself just feel what you're experiencing and allow the person you're caring for to feel that with you.
Yeah. So it's okay for them to know how sad you are and stuff?
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah.
I believe it is.
That's
And
good.
because I believe that there's healing in those moments.
Right. Got it. Got it.
And I think a lot of caregivers want to be stoic and want to.
Yeah, but they can also be human. You're saying to them today,
They
can
want
also be human.
to give the impression that they can handle it.
Yeah.
But they also need to give themselves the grace.
Yeah. Listen, I can sit here all day. I have so many questions for you, but I want to make sure that we get to some of the lighter moments, right?
Sure.
But I'm going to ask you this one more question from a global lens. Why do you think the medical community is starting to embrace the arts more openly in care models? I didn't want to leave without asking you that question.
I think that people are now willing to be more honest about the fact that what we've been doing has not worked well for many people.
Yeah.
We need to find ways to see people. Because if it's hard for me to be a consumer in a system that if I feel that it doesn't value me.
Yeah.
You know, there's always been this talk about getting people to engage with their healthcare and getting people to comply with healthcare but again, if someone who is consuming goods and services within a system doesn't feel that the system cares about them, you think they're going to want to stick around in that system?
And I think this brings me to my next question. What's been the biggest challenge in bridging clinical medicine with creative healing for you in the system?
Yeah, you know, I have to say this, being totally transparent, it's been the administration because patients and loved ones, they love it.
Yeah.
But to kind of just buy in and support from at the managerial level and the administrative level.
It's been difficult.
Has been a challenge.
Despite the evidence and so on and the reports and the journals coming out of Harvard and
That's right.
a World Health
That's right.
Organization, you
That's
still
right.
have
We
the
just have more.
challenge
We have more
of
work
getting
to
the
do.
buy-in.
Yeah, we have more work to do.
So let me ask, what's next for you? Are there new ways you're hoping to bring music and medicine together? I know you talk at a number of conferences around the world. You spend time in Paris, and you
Yes.
can talk about some of the other places before we get into
Sure.
Pepper Pot. I needed to
Paris.
ask you.
Sure, Paris, Berlin.
Yeah.
I travel. I go, speak at healthcare systems in the United States.
Yeah.
I love speaking with medical students
Yeah.
because they're at their kind of entry to the system, right?
Yeah.
And I know that's where we have to start. And perhaps even before that,
Yeah.
at the college level, high school level, because there needs to be a shift in mindset,
Yeah.
right? And a recognition that the arts can really heal us, can bring communities together.
I hope this interview would send that message most certainly today.
I
For
pray.
those of you listening, I hope so.
I pray.
I mean, I'm a believer. I certainly was I a believer before today? Yes. I've had some exposure on this topic, which is why I wanted to bring it to the forefront. But do I know everything about it? No. So today you really helped me to understand this at a whole different level, and hopefully it did the same for our viewers. We want to remind our viewers on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcasts, maybe it's a good idea to share this interview with at least 2 of your friends or family members, because people don't always understand what they don't know. Sounds cliche, but they don't.
It's true.
But I want to lighten up the mood.
Yes.
First of all, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're coming back with a Pepper Pot segment, rather. Time to take a break. Let's pay some bills, and we'll be right back.
This segment is brought to you by 124 Not Out Cricket Academy, based in Georgia and Florida, USA.
Welcome back. I'm hanging out with Dr. Sydelle Ross. I like to call her, and many people call her, the singing doctor. She's revolutionizing medicine and bringing her gift of music to treat her patients. And I love it. I'm here for it. But let's talk about the Pepper Pot. Producer, roll that clip. 10 fire questions. Okay.
It's getting hot. We drop you in the Pepper Pot.
So, as a doctor with strong Caribbean roots, different people throughout the Caribbean, different people throughout the Caribbean have different versions of what pepper pot looks like. Jamaica has a different version of what they call pepper pot. Guyana has a different version.
Yes.
Trinidad has a different version. We all have a different version, right? But this pepper pot, our version on the Basia TV podcast of pepper pot is we ask you 10 questions, and you have to sometimes give us one answer, or we'll tell you if it's just 5 words as we go along.
All
so
right.
Are you ready?
There we go.
Okay. So a song that always lifts your spirit.
Higher than high. Marshall Montano.
So Trinity born, boy. Your favorite place to sing, stage, shower, or somewhere else? You talked about somewhere to sing.
That's hard because I love the shower and I also love the stairwell at the hospital.
You talked about that earlier.
Yeah, so the shower nice too,
The shower nice. I always thought the shower is for people who can't really sing, right?
The shower nice too. The shower is nice because the steam helps to...
one choice.
Oh gosh. Nah, don't do me that.
That's my pepper pot and what?
All right. Shower.
Okay, good. One thing you do every morning to set your energy right.
The first thing that I do is literally I open my Bible app for my verse of the day.
Okay. If you weren't a doctor, what would you be doing?
I would be on a stage. I would be on a stage.
You're already on the stage.
I have vision. I would be on a soca stage.
Oh my God. So we have that part too. I think when you come back for the next interview, we're going to talk about that side of Dr. Rice, okay? The soca side. Favorite comfort food after a long shift? Interesting.
After a long shift. So I don't get to have this often, but a nice roti.
Oh my God. Really? I didn't even know that.
Oh, yes.
What's a simple joy that always makes you smile?
Watching my 2 girls play.
I can see that. Your 2 daughters. You have 2 daughters. Okay. One piece of advice you'd give to young doctors today. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Watch your vital signs.
Which artist or musician most inspires your healing work?
So many.
One.
Yeah.
Who inspires you the most?
I have to say that because this has really been a journey of authenticity for me, kind of reconnecting with authenticity. There's one particular artist in the jazz genre, actually, that I connect with quite deeply. And it's Nina Simone. I mean, and she's more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Quote or lyric that keeps you grounded.
It's my own quote. The world is depending on you to live your authenticity.
I love it. One word that describes your life's purpose right now.
One word.
Yeah.
Abide.
Wow. And that's the end of the Pepper Pot segment.
All right.
Yeah. We also have this new segment that we ask every guest on the Basia TV podcast. And it's fairly new, but we know it's going to be the most impactful. One day we'll have a reel of all these interviews that we've done. And this is the one question we would want every guest to answer. And it's called our last, and this is it. Every guest on the show has to answer this last question, and then we're done. If you could change one thing in the world right now, just one, what would it be? Think about it. Just one thing. If you only had one, and those magic powers had to change that one thing, Dr. Ross, what would it be?
I would want to change loneliness.
I swear somebody said that recently. Yes, a clinical psychologist out of India, Sanjoni Sethi. I think she alluded to that, right, producer? That is
Loneliness.
so, I mean, for two people back to back in the medical profession to say that, it must be a disease that we're all.
It is. It's a pandemic in
Loneliness.
its own right.
Yeah, it's an epidemic in its own right, you said?
I think so.
Yeah.
This is a
Wow.
pandemic of loneliness.
Wow.
It's a worldwide.
Oh my God.
And this is why being able to abide and being able to connect and being able to see people is so critical. It's so critical.
And do you think, well, I know that was the last question, but outside of the last, do you think that's accounting for the high rise in dementia and Alzheimer's in the world?
No question.
Oh my God. I'm going outside to say hi to my neighbor.
Yeah. Do that. Do it.
My God.
Do that.
My God.
Do that. Loneliness, isolation.
Honestly, that's why my husband and I moved to Naples. We
need a community.
We need community. For too many people, it's about the house and they stay in this house and whatever. When growing up in the Caribbean, where I come from, it was all about meeting with your friends, talking to your neighbor, going on a line. And I'm like, when did this all change? I want that back. I want that. I enjoy going a huge date for us, my husband and I right now, which has nothing to do with money or anything, is going and sitting down and having a glass of wine by the sunset.
You see?
It's like a popular thing we do here in Naples. It's been life-changing for us. Beach walks and sunset, that's the vibe.
You need it.
Dr. Ross, thank you for sharing your voice with the world and your heart with us today. If this episode moved you, please share it with at least 2 people who would be inspired by the message of healing through music. You can watch and subscribe on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more, wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, thank you guys for watching Basia TV Podcasts, where we celebrate the stories that heal. It's your girl, Basia. Remember to live the life you love and love the life you live. I'm outside. Cheers. Thank you.